Concerning me and viewers, what's going on? It's me, John D. Villo, the 4-time national champion, Paul at Villarreal, the NBA experts joining. And I've been thinking to myself right now, I mean, here we are, and we're deep in the NBA season now, and I just have to think to myself, what is the biggest story right now in the NBA so far? Now, of course, there'll be things and storylines that'll play out. Is it Jeremy Lin and that incredible situation that he's got going on there in New York, and how many, fired up fans they have now all around the world with what's going on there? And I mean, you have to say, that is really an incredible story that's come out of New York right there. That's number one. But what about Dwight Howard? D12. What about Dwight Howard staying in Orlando? That was a big thing. People were talking. There was all these rumors. There's all this. Is it going to be the Lakers? What about New Jersey? What about this team? What about that team? He stayed in Orlando. How big is that? What about this story? What about the Heat? What about LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh racking up so many wins? What about the kind of firepower they showed? What about how they easily handle the Knicks and all kinds of other stuff? Is this team now ready to win a championship? Are they ready to bring the hardware home to Miami? And how big would that be? And that kind of situation. Now, that may be a storyline that plays out, obviously, as we go into the playoffs, stuff like that. That may become the biggest story in the NBA, but is it the biggest story now? What about the whole situation with Chris Humphries? Now, maybe that's sort of off the court, not the whole thing. But again, his situation there with Kim Kardashian, that divorce, that whole deal, and, how he's playing now. Is that a storyline in the NBA that's important to you? What about the San Antonio Spurs? And what about the Chicago Bulls racking up all kinds of wins? And then we can talk about, the Lakers. Is Kobe going to win a 6th championship? His broken nose. How's that whole thing going on there in LA? And are they going to be in a position to make another championship run? And then we also have to talk about the defending world champions, the Dallas Mavericks. Can they defend their title? Where are they at right now? Is that a current? Again, a lot of these storylines, maybe they're going to be hotter later. But where's it at right now? Paul, you're the NBA expert. How do you match all these things up? And what do you think are the two really hottest stories right now up to this point in the NBA, in your personal opinion? For me, I gotta go with Jeremy Lin. I just think that's the biggest thing. I think it's global. I think it's captivated everybody. And I still think it's hot. I think that it's getting hot again because he's winning again.
CNN viewers, I think that the two hottest stories in the NBA up to this point in the season are Jeremy Lin, definitely by far and away in terms of importance for the league across the world. Jeremy Lin is the #1 biggest story overall, even though Linsanity has died down a little bit, kind of in hibernation with the coaching change, but I still think that is probably the biggest story of this entire season. The second biggest story is the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, they don't have the best record in the league right now. They're behind the Chicago Bulls. They're behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. I still think they are the favorites to win the championship. I really don't think they need home court advantage over the Chicago Bulls or the Oklahoma City Thunder. They didn't need it against the Bulls last year. They don't need it this year, in my opinion. LeBron having a great historical, statistical season. Miami is still looking good. They are the hottest story in terms of the team, and those are the two top ones for me. Dwight Howard staying is big. There's been a lot of talk about that all year, but now it's going to kind of die down. Is Orlando going to make a championship run? No, I don't think so. Are the Lakers good enough to get Kobe a 6th championship ring? I don't think so. They made some good additions, a couple good additions at the trade deadline. I don't think that's enough to put them over the hump. That's what I'm seeing right now. That's the landscape I'm looking at right now. Things are going to kind of heat up. We're going to have some the trade deadline pass, but now there's going to be like buyouts. Maybe teams can add a couple veterans. But now we're going to start settling more into who's ready for the deep playoff runs.
Look, I agree with you, Paul. You are the NBA expert, and I have to say, looking at this, having my championship caliber pedigree, I have to agree with you. I think that Jeremy Lin, by far, is the biggest story. And of course, this is all a personal opinion only. We're a lot of LIG facts. We're not casting any spurs. All for entertainment purposes only. Please check the disclaimers. Look, you know what? Jeremy Lin, I mean, this thing has hit all kinds of mainstream media. It's worldwide. It's global. Jeremy Lin is such a huge story for the NBA. He's such a huge story for the Knicks, for that city, MSG, NYC, all that. At the same time, I absolutely agree with you that the Heat is like, to me, the Miami Heat is like the super story that's sitting right there out there waiting. I feel like, in my personal opinion, that this is the team that's loaded up and ready to go in the playoffs, that they can take it to another level, that it's just gelling and stuff like that. So even though, yeah, you have Oklahoma and you have Kevin Durant doing their, his thing over there, and that team doing it, even though you have Chicago with all the wins right now, I just feel like, the Heat is where the real firepower is, and come playoff time. So that's where we're at on this. Where are you at on this? What is the biggest story in the NBA up till now? And what's your prediction for what will be the biggest story in the NBA when it's all said and done in this season? Tell us where you're at. Give us the comments below. Please subscribe above. I'm John D. Villarreal, the 4-time national champion. That is Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Please rate this video high. Also, please share it with your friends on your social networks and your Twitter, where you're watching conservative media. Be sure to check out our next video where we talk about Dwayne Wade's tweet and what that meant in our personal opinion. I want to hear from you to see what you think about that. You're watching conservative media. We will see you next time.